Chapter Run read-through of this month's book club, Akios Dive by Chase Gamwell. The only view of the outside world I've ever had is through a rough-hewn oval skylight set directly above the center of the Alphenix Orphanage common area. Crimson sunlight beams through the opening, painting a complementary shape on the unyielding stone floor. It's a far more comfortable resting place than the cold corners of the wide room, where condensation drips onto soggy mounds of rags. Beds, the headmistress calls them. Sitting on the floor, I settle against Fala's leathery flank. My best friend is a Quillo, bigger than all the other children and twice as strong, with 4 stubby legs poking from a round torso and a blue stripe tracing her spine. Her triangular head is tipped with huge nostrils beneath milky, sightless eyes, and floppy yet surprisingly articulate ears indicating her mood. Her head swivels towards me, ears twitching as she grins. "Aren't you glad to have a friend as big as me?" she rumbles in her native tongue, tilting her head at the children we've kicked out of our spot in the sun. They try to take it every day, but Fala is just too large. "Hey, I watched your back," I stumbled over the reply. "She's managed to teach me some of Quillu over the years, but my parts aren't made to make their sounds." Fala understands, however, and that's enough to keep the others from eavesdropping when we don't want them to. "Sure," she teases before dropping her meaty chin to the worn stone floor. "As long as we're the ones in the sun," I nod in agreement. "How long?" Fala asked after a moment. The same question she asks every day. "This is day 3745 in the sun," I answer. Before Fala arrived, I crouched in the cold, damp shadows, teased and bullied by all the other children, for as long as I can remember. And maybe even before that. Back when Kale was the one in the sun, he stared at us now with blood-red eyes and blistering nest of white feathers framing his hooked beak like gleams of liquid gold. Fala smiles but shakes her head. "You know that's not the number I asked for. How long until freedom?" I finished for her, readjusting the numbers in my head. Only 725 days left. Rough, sun-warmed skin shifts under my shoulder blades. So close. The daily exchange is a ritual, a reminder, a promise. I squint up at the sun. The sky framing it is pink and traced with wispy gray clouds. One day we'll stand under the open sky together, free, able to go wherever we please. "Tell me about Quail again," I say. "You know I barely remember my home," Fala replies. "Please," I plead. "I like hearing about what you do remember." "Well," Fala shifts under me. "Quail is warm, and there's always a gentle breeze blowing across the fields. The soil is soft and cool and loose, nice to lay on." "It sounds like paradise," I breathe, compared to the stone prison of Alphenix. At least, the only home I've ever known. But even if Quill is the only other place I'll ever get to see, I'll be happy, because Fala and I will be together and free, instead of just 2 more unwanted orphans waiting for the Cassine to give them a home. "There are other places besides Quail," Farah says, turning her wide face to me, ears raised. "I'm sure there's a planet full of other smoothskins." The made-up name tugs my mouth into a frown, but neither of us know how else to describe what I am or have any idea where I came from. "How do we even know there are any more like me out there?" I asked. "There have to be," she says, "somewhere." Her heartwarming insistence brings a smile to my face. Fala has always been adamant about finding others like me once we leave. She says it's important I know more about my kind. I want more than anything, but I'm not confident like she is. Not enough to get my hopes up anyway. But even if we never find another smooth skin behind these walls, I'll be happy as long as we're together. "Maybe," I conceded. Fala returns the smile and opens her mouth to say something else when the jingle of keys pierced the air. A heartbeat later, the heavy iron door at the far edge of the room creaks open, and the headmistress walks into view. A wicked grin twists her thin lips, pulling them apart to reveal jagged yellow teeth. That look is never a good sign. Jittery blue eyes sweep the room in a silent warning as 2 other Cajuns saunter in on her heels, just as tall, pale, and appraising. "This is what we have," the headmistress says in a lazy drawl. "No others?" The Cajun who asked is covered head to toe in a dusty jumpsuit and wrapped in a tattered shapeless coat, the same shape of the brown of the stone walls. The headmistress crossed her wiry arms over a slender torso. "What did you have in mind?" "You got anything large?" the other casein asked. He wears ill-fitted slacks and a baggy shirt that makes his torso seem minuscule. Fala stiffens under me. "You'll be fine," I whisper. "How do you know?" "I just know," I soothe, patting her side. Fala nods, but the nervous flops of her ears suggest she isn't convinced. "What about you?" "I'm an anomaly, remember?" That was the headmistress' name for me. She mumbled it in passing like a curse or a sickness to be excused, but for some reason the headmistress always made it a point to divert attention away from me. And most cases that do give me more than a lingering glance are disgusted by whatever I am. Maybe it's my smooth skin, or my thick mane of raven hair, or my dark eyes. But these casein did not seem to notice or care, as their eyes swept over me. Then again, I'm not big like Fala. I swallowed the lump rising in my throat. "The Randanen," Tattercoat said, pointing to Calais. Oversized shirt shakes his head. "They look big, but they're all feathers, also hollow bones." Tattercoat gives a thoughtful frown and scares the room. His gaze lands on Fala, and her flank hardens like stone against my back. "What about the Quillo?" Suddenly a lump is so big that it's hard to breathe. "Maybe," Oversized Shirt turns to the headmistress. "Can we get a closer look?" "Of course." She walks towards us, jingling keys like death bells. "Out of the way," she snaps at me. Then her glare shifts to Fala. "Stand up." Fala's milky white eyes wide as I scramble towards the edge of the crimson circle, and then I turn. She's trembling. "You're fine," I call in her native tongue, my heart drumming in time with the deepest, smoothest notes of the words. "Quiet," the headmistress hisses. All the warmth drains from my body as the casein inspect Fala. My skin crawls as they run spider-like fingers across the lengthery hump of her flank, along the bright blue stripe running down her spine, and toy with the simple wooden pendant always hanging around her neck. She's quiet, but every inch of her screams distress. Her big ears press flat against her bald head. Her prominent brow draws down above the narrowed eyes. Her lips press into a thin line. Her wide shoulders hunch in a defensive posture, and all four of her legs are bent slightly. She's ready to bolt, but there's nowhere to run. Oversized Shirt, hand still on Fala's back, glances sidelong to the headmistress. "Can this one carry a load?" "All of the children can." "Can any of the others carry as much?" Tattercoat presses. "I don't know," the headmistress growls, "but these are the only children I have. Find one or don't, but don't waste my time." The pair converse in the casein native tongue, a scratchy grumble that's so familiar I can almost grasp its meaning. But comprehension hovers just out of reach. Finally, Tattercoat turns back to the headmistress. "We'll take the Quillu." My heart skips a beat. This isn't right. This isn't supposed to happen. Fala and I are going to leave Elfnex together, be free, together. But if they take her away, I'll be left alone, and she'll be all alone with a casein wherever they take her. No, this can't happen. But I'm frozen in place, as if my feet have fused with the smooth stone of the Elfnex. All I can do is watch as the headmistress replies. "The fee is 1,500 credits. "So much?" Tattercoat complains. "Surely only 1,000 will do," Oversized Shirt offers. 1,500 or you leave without the Quillu," the headmistress snaps, planting balled fists on her hips. "Fine," Tattercoat grumbles, pulling a pouch out of his hip and dumping its contents into the copper hand. "That should be enough." "Maybe it isn't. Maybe they'll be short and the headmistress will send them away without Fala." A glimmer of hope dwindled on each counted credit, but then the headmistress finished and raised an eyebrow. 1,400? She glared at the two casein. "And I suppose you didn't bring a credit more?" "It isn't enough. Fala will stay." They both grin. "What do you say?" Oversized Shirt asked. "Do we have a deal?" Tattered Shirt adds. She let out a heavy sigh. "Go ahead. Take her, before I change my mind." The casein bow their heads in thanks. Their mouths move, but the words are muffled, as if uttered far away. Then they turn to Fala. "But no, they didn't have enough. The headmistress was supposed to turn them away." "Wait!" I cried, leaping in front of her. "Take me too. I can carry as much as she can. More." "Out of the way," Tattercoat growls. Scrawny pest, Oversized Shirt shoves me with a rough, spindly hand. Farah's milky eyes widen in terror as unfamiliar hands nudge her away from the sun's warmth. Then her wide lips open in a panic cry. "Akio, what do we do?" "Run," I shout in reply. Vala bucks away from tattered coat and oversized shirt. The headmistress' cry for her to stop is drowned by the pair's angry barks and the sudden babbling roar of children. They cheer as Vala sprints for the open door and freedom. I've always left it open because no child has ever dared try to escape. Vala will be the first, and I'll be the second. My 2 legs aren't as strong as Vala's 4, but I'm quick enough to keep up with the headlong rush. I yank the iron door shut behind me, pausing long enough for the solid clink of the latch to echo in the empty hall. Then, I'm on Vala's heels. "Do you know where we're going?" I pant at her, wide flank. She shakes her head and says, "I'm not letting them take me." Tears flash in her sightless eyes. "No," I agree. "We're supposed to leave together, so that's what we're going to do." All right, this is where TikTok is cutting me off time-wise, but this is the first half of Chapter 1. If you want to hear the second half of Chapter 1, leave a comment and let me know if you want to do book club this month.